a questionable use of the self-destruct from Wild when he gets caught out there.
Yeah, I mean, he was right next to a place where he could have jumped off and reset, so bring that to the next fight is my opinion, and especially given the fact that while they will be able to match Ultraviolet's Transcendence, they're not going to be matched up in most other areas. And they've got the spawn advantage, does Flyby, as here comes the dive from Vaders.
Oh, Excel popped up Primal Rage. He gets stuck in the Junkrat trap, though, so they're able to burst him down. Vaders now no longer have the main tank to lead the way, and therefore probably not going to go for it right now. Wild wants to wait for the main tank.
Questionable ult usage, to say the least. Both of the tanks now showing that, but, well, if you can get picks like this, maybe you don't need to worry about ults as Gold starts it off with a kill.
Oh, and Baby XQC following up now that the lane is clear for the sniping to go through. This is looking like a point B capture just a few meters away. Maybe Flyboy could get there. Ultraviolet pops the Transcendence to maybe lead his team for a last-minute defense, but actually ends up with not really much value as point B is secured.
It is indeed. Recurve is going to go down at the end of this fight. Gets the consolation prize of Limbo. The thing is, they're winning this fight, but the payload wouldn't be moving very much anyway. They may be able to start holding this choke, and Recurve is going to have his Riptire when he comes back. So they may be able to turn this into something, especially because Baby XQC is going to be a little bit less effective on this Widow. Pops that ultimate, might actually be looking to get a switch. Not quite yet, going to wait for this payload to move through the choke point, but look for this Riptire and see if Flyby can stop this push in its tracks.
Yeah, I think I agree with Baby XQC needing a swap from the Widow. I don't think it's as strong here on point C. She popped the vision though, but we got the Riptire as you were waiting for from Recurve, but gets shot down there from Baby XQC, who's proving us wrong that maybe Widow could be useful here for the offense, but Flyboy just running over with these kills.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I was going to say, Widow, that one thing that I love about being Widow is just playing against Junkrat, so I can try to get that Riptire, and we did see Baby XQC nullifying that, but the problem is, after that, you don't actually offer very much to the team fight in these closer quarters. So going to switch off onto the Tracer, be building up a Pulse Bomb. Meanwhile, with Recurve's ult down, Gold is going to be the one I'm watching here. He's got that Dragon Blade available. He used it very well last time, and if he can pick up Cades once again in the start of this fight, they're going to get that payload moving.
Yeah, an early pop of the Valkyrie, and also to keep in mind, Vaders swapped to a full Death Ball, including Mora and Baby XQC, I apologize, on the Tracer, which means they're going to have a hard time diving this upper ground and dislodging the defense. They have to go all the way around the stairs, but if they can build towards a Graviton, this might be sort of the finishing ultimate that they need to get the payload moving to the end.
That's going to be what they're going to be banking on. I'm a little curious as to that move. They're going to be able to slowly push this card forward, but they have been winning fights on the back of picks and aggressive play. They're not going to be able to do that as easily with that Reinhardt, but they do get the pick. Baby XQC gets Bork. Unfortunately, on the other side of the fight, things not going quite as well.
You know, they started off with that Tracer pick, like I'm talking about the offense here, but they lose Gold, so they lose that golden opportunity, no pun intended, to get the Dragon Blade out and some distance urge. So the swap's not really working out for the offense so far.
Yeah, now that Grav is starting to build, but these fights have been going fairly quick, so Wild has not been able to build up too much of that percentage. They've got a few other ultimates in tow. Maybe they can win one fight without it, and then with it. On the other side of things, no, here comes the Dragon Blade. Gonna be countered though by the Transcendence.
Oh, and the Riptire, actually. He gets away from the Riptire, but it's going to be chasing for more blood. Doesn't amount to much either. But Gold's Dragon Blade, unfortunately, they had to trigger the Transcendence before really wanting to go for that. And they, you know, have an Earth Shatter. They have ultimates that they could have dragged out or drug out that Transcendence. So ultimately, Gold doesn't do much.
Yeah, and remember, don't do drugs, okay, is what I'm learning from this one, just because the tenses can be very intense. No, but yeah, taking a look at this team right now, Vaders, they look very decisive in the first 2 points, but they're struggling to use their ultimates properly. They're not getting very much payment from them. That time around, Gold, and well, now he's going to be switching on to 76. Transcendence used by Bulky. Let's see if they can get any payment with this. Get an opportunity to push.
It just builds them a little bit of time for this Graviton for Zarya to get a little bit closer, but not really the best Graviton we've seen. Too many of the defense were spread out. Should have been a little bit more patient with it as they're trying to get the payload home. All the tanks from Flyboy need to do is build some time. Best Volby has the Primal Rage, looking to pop it right now and build some distance around the payload, waiting for reinforcements to get back.
Yeah, Excel is going to be pushed off, but I just want to talk about the free Cloud9 here from Flyby. There was a lot of free push from Baiters, and they're running a comp that they can just stay on the point. Flyby, they have to dive on top of them. Now able to get in there. Big Hundo going to nullify Gold's ultimate. That tactical visor finally going to take him out of commission. But with 10 seconds left, Baiters, they have to get some reinforcements.
I would have liked to seen Gold go on that high ground and pop the attack visor once the Devo was out of mech, because like you said, Matrix pretty much ate 50% of that ultimate. Now Flyboys are back onto the payload. Baiters used a lot of ultimates, but Excel's looking for the Earth Shatter, gets the Lucio down, needs to capitalize on this kill, and actually does not. The Lucio survives.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened there. The payload was in the way. And of course, Excel, it's a lot easier said than done in the moment. And with the very close spawn for Flyby, they were able to get members in position very quickly. Bader is looking very strong in the first couple of points just because of their aggressive play and picking the right fights at the right times. But Flyby, with their backs against the wall, looking a lot stronger, a little bit better ult economy, and they were able to actually hold to just 2 points for the Baiters. I'm not sure if we're going to reset here, but we'll just say that 83.69 meters, no matter what, is going to be the target here for Flyby.
Well, I think the main problem with Baiters is the ultimate usage. They had pretty good ult economy, but the opportunities they chose to go for, let's say, the Graviton, barely got any members, were waiting for them to get grouped up. Things like a couple blades from Gold didn't amount to much, especially when they didn't bait out the Transcendence before. And then an attack visor from Gold again was used in the midst of a defense matrix. So kind of questionable use all around from Baiters.
Yeah, and it could be that they just tend to win off the back of hero plays from those ultimates. Specifically, that Dragon Blade can make or break team fights almost by itself at the very least. But the thing is that's a feast or famine strategy. And if you're going to live by the sword, you can definitely die by the sword. And that's what we saw that time around. They just weren't pulling those ultimates out at the right times. And it gave Flyboy every opportunity to defend and win fights that otherwise they might have started off with a disadvantage based on the ultimates in tow. But we're in a new map here, and this time Flyby are going to be flying around. Recurve is going to be bringing that Pharah, at least showing it right now. Bork with the Widowmaker. So I'm curious to see how this variety of 2-2-2 works out. Baby XQC on the other side has a Pharah of his own. Not for long, though.
Yeah, Bork right out the door is going to spot a very juicy looking Pharah up in the air, and I'm very surprised to see actually Pharah on defense. Like, sometimes people really do run offensive Widows, so Baby XQC already getting trouble at first, and I don't even think Limbo went for the res there.
Yeah, and it just doesn't really seem to fit with this team composition. You can see Baiters, they were able to successfully disengage and come around the outside. They've got a lot of explosivity with Gold on that Junkrat as well. But with a man down, this is a 5v6 opportunity for Flyby to try to push this payload.
Another first pick from the offense. They get Excel out of the picture, who's just trying to hold house in the front line, which now requires Wild to stay alive here on the payload. If he wants to contest it, he gets taken out. So front line is missing with Baiters. Again, Baby XQC out of the picture. He's going to want to go for a swap. Picks up the Widow, which we saw him use in the last defense.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like we may be trading one evil for another as he goes down. Bork getting that pick. But yeah, because one reason you don't generally see that Pharah on defense, especially a point like this, is you don't really have any ability to control the cart area with that. You don't want to drop down as Pharah to contest the cart. You have to say it's such an arm's length or a rocket's length, I guess, in this instance. And that's the same thing with Widowmaker. Widowmaker is not going to be able to contest that cart, but at the very least, may be able to find a pick onto Recurve, start pressuring him out of the air. Recurve, he's got his ultimate available, by the way. Let's see if he pulls it out here with a barrage.
And the defense are still running Excel on this Orisa, so which means they're not going to be able easily to access the top. And Big Hondo already with the double kill self-destruct. The offense are on a roll now, beating Excel to death. which will mean they get guaranteed distance pretty much halfway to point B if they remember to get on the card. There you go. There you go. Someone remembered about the objective. But
yeah, of course it's the supports, you know, making up for all these loose cannons on the side of Flyby. Baby XQC, hey, that's not a bad pick for your team. Question is, are they going to actually be able to convert that into defense on the point? It looks like Flyby are going to play this tentatively, look for a pick of their own.
And this is smart to have Bork on this Widow, because now he can distract Baby XQC, which will allow more freedom for Recurve, who has the barrage in the back pocket. Gold, though, is going to be on this high ground, though, so he has to be careful. Wants to wait for the reflect, or maybe actually some more teammates before going for the barrage, but expect Recurve to pop that barrage, and even Ultraviolet to come in with a clutch Transcendence if things get a little hairy on this next offense.
Yeah, I'm going to see, usually you don't see those ultimates used in conjunction with each other just because Recurve's going to be in the air and Ultraviolet on that Zenyatta not going to be able to get up there too terribly much. But if this high ground is where we see it and Ultraviolet can get up there, they might be able to use that. But no, let's take a look as the fight is ensuing. For all intents and purposes, this is Flyby's fight to lose.
I think there's a self-destruct in the back, but it just gets the mech back for Wild. It's sent so far in the back, but in the meanwhile, the payload is still getting pushed, though although Excel is so far, he's not stopping the value of the card, while now everybody from the defense is getting the kills that they need. Mainly Gold brings out the Dragon Blade, and Baby XQC had vision up, so defense finally make the bleeding stop at this point.
And they're doing what they did on the first couple of points when they were attacking is Baders. They are starting to dictate the terms of these fights. They're getting a little bit more aggressive. And another problem right now is Flyby. They sent both of their tanks to try to deal with the Widowmaker in the back line, and that left their entire DPS and support structure vulnerable to attack, and Best Boldy was able to get in, get some damage, or excuse me, no, it's Excel, and then Gold, of course, dropped that Dragon Blade, and they were able to get some kills. Recurve and Ultraviolet still holding on to their ultimate. They need to get something here. They're going to start it off with a Widow kill, at least.
Starting off with some justice, but gets reflected right back, not waiting for the reflect to get called out from the rest of his team, but they need to also get on this payload. Remember that one still exists. While they were creating so much distance at the end of point B, you know, this is kind of missed distance, but I guess it's the job of Ultraviolet here. Cades is trying to bounce back between the front line and the back line to do some healing, but this has got to be better communication out of Flyboy.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. They are really going for broke here. Ultraviolet gets that Transcendence on the ground as the trickle comes in from Baders. Gold, he has something to say about that. He's going to try to stop it.
Yeah, another Dragon Blade out of him. We just saw him, but again, not amounting to much, but a self-destruct from Wild does buy them a little bit of time. He's going to get bursted down from the other Diva and the secondary tank, but point B already earned for Flyboy. Baders, yeah, Wild does not get away with his life, so getting a bit staggered free distance here, but Payload has to get through the doorway. But into this next fight, couple swaps, Baby XQC on the Sombra, which is kind of interesting, and Gold swapping to the McCree.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be able to get onto Bork, so that's going to stop Widowmaker. Once again, wouldn't be surprised if we see that Widow swap this time around as Flyby, or excuse me, Baders come out strong. They want to stop the payload here with that Coalescence.
Yeah, no, the Primal Rage from Excel actually pins Best Boldy from exiting the situation, so great stagger. Big Hundo was there to try and defend him, but now they just need to go for the reset, just buy a little bit of time, wait for this guy to get back. But Baby XQC, 6%, now 5% away from the EMP, wants to pop that before Ultraviolet's Transcendence to prevent it from going on, and then the snowball to follow through would be great.
Yeah, now let's take a look at this team composition, because this has been working out fairly good for Flyby. A little bit of a slow there on point B, but now they've got two heroes that don't work well in close quarters, namely Recurve, who's laying down Justin, gonna be nullified though by Baby XQC.
Just in time to build the EMP but to prevent the barrage. But not only that, with the new buff, she goes down from the sky along with Mercy, who's actually not on, actually, yeah, it was by his side, but nonetheless, Flyboy able to get the picks they need, mainly Bork picking off Excel tanks out of the picture for Baders, and now they want to focus on this high ground control, and both these teams really proving Widow has been effective on point C.
It has actually. Bork, well, and then one of the big factors here is with the rockets coming down, it makes it difficult, more difficult anyway, to dive in, and so Recurve enabling Widow in a little bit in that regard. But now that the high ground is being contested by Baiters, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Flyby, and they're going to have to back off.
Wow, the way the Flyboy were able to go and save Bork in that situation. Excel was diving so deep he was finding Christmas presents just trying to get that kill onto Bork. And then they were able to go back, pop the Transcendence, and save Bork into that situation, actually punish Excel for it. And now they just need to chase Wild here, who's going to be out of mech, so this is looking extremely good for Flyboy.
Yeah, no, they have the momentum that they need. They're building up another barrage as well, and that can definitely be a closer coming in this one. Oh, narrowly missing is Gold's Pulse Bomb. But with that clean set of kills, XQC is going to delay it for just a bit. Hopefully give Baiters the opportunity to come back out onto this point.
And the Sombra just delaying the death of the Diva there, but finally at the last couple meters, there's Recurve with the barrage. Gets a little bit reflected from Limbo, but a self-destruct from, I think that was Big Hundo, buying some distance, but here is Excel to save the day, maybe. He needs to get back onto the payload or the scene. Not really. P9, he was going to die anyway, but Flyboy captured the 3 points and take map 1 in Dorado.
They do indeed, and really, we talked a little bit about it on their defense, but Flyby, they seem to be dominating based on their ultimate usage, because coming into that last fight, I think Recurve and Ultraviolet on point B both were holding their ultimates for a long time. When they brought them out between the end of point B and the end of point C, each of them had 3 ultimates. That's 3 Transcendences and 3 barrages that they were able to use to get through to point C. They're building them up quickly, and they're using them at just the right time to get the right amount of payment from it. Now it seems like we're going to be moving on to Control's point. We'll see how these teams' play styles play out there. Well, no, maybe not.
Well, we got Control
Rip.
coming up, but to touch upon, I guess, sort of the defense that came out, Gold switching to the Tracer when he was playing pretty much Genji the entire Dorado map. I think that suited his playstyle a little bit more. Kind of like his Dragon Blades really weren't doing much. And, you know, he had a couple good reflects, mainly onto, I think, one of the barrages that actually ended up killing the Pharah.
Yeah.
But him on the Tracer, I mean, you didn't see him all over the kill feed, but the way he was able to stall the payload and help more in the ground war by putting out more damage towards the tanks and sort of dancing around them a little bit better as the Tracer than the Genji, I think, helped out the defense a little bit more.
I would definitely have to agree with that. I want to see how Gold and Excel interact with each other in that dive. Of course, Excel playing Winston a pretty good amount of that map because it seemed like they had 2 different looks. Of course, they had that Genji, as we saw, a little bit more oriented towards those Dragon Blades. And once those stopped working out, the Tracer pickup definitely good from their side. On the other side of things, Flyby here, they brought out a couple different looks. I mean, they made that Pharah Widow work on point C. I want to see some different looks from them depending on the map here. It looks like we are going to be going to King's Row, and this is an area where we can see Pharah and Widow work, especially on the first point. But yeah, I guess it is going to kind of depend. Flyby, they showed that. Was it a full death ball, like 3 tanks, or was it only 2 tanks with that Orisa on the first defense they had?
Yeah, they had a Rissa Roadhog on that first
That's right.
defense. Yeah, and they really didn't even switch off of it till almost the end of point B. And then even all the offense brought out a like a Reinhardt Zarya, which is also kind of strange.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised on King's Row, especially on defense, but as well on offense, to see tanks, or what would I call it? The beef and bombs
The
composition. So 3
Slambulance.
tanks, 3 tanks with the Junkrat laying in some explosive damage, because when you talk about this hotel, that is the Alderworth Hotel. It is it basically, it makes it difficult for defense to find good positioning. If you are going up against multiple tanks, they can kind of force you away from this point back into this back area behind the Alderworth Hotel, and if that happens, then Junkrat can really just rain in bombs and get in there, which is also why we see a lot of times on defense that same type of tanky defensive lineup. Right now, though, we're seeing a bit of a variation on that. Gold is going to be bringing Genji to this defensive lineup. What do you think about Genji amongst these tanks.
Well, Wild and Excel are going to play close together. They're going to be shielding each other. Gold is going to be trying to find the backline, where Baby XQC again is going to be playing behind the shield. So Gold is going to be the one out of position, or at least baiting the other team from behind. So, but I haven't seen such an impressive performance out of Gold, so that's the only reason why I'm worried. He can definitely make it work going into Hotel, maybe coming from behind while the push is going in. Flyby currently have almost the same comp with the Reinhardt. Ooh, initial pick from Wild there is going to stop this offense from going on, but they got Reinhardt Zarya with recurve. So I think that the Junkrat on the offense is really what's going to set both these teams apart.
Yep, recurve could make or break this one, but in that first fight, even though Baby XQC is the one getting the kills here, the reason that first fight did not go so well is Best Bulby, he got a little bit too deep. They were trying to push back the defenders behind the Hotel, but what they ended up doing was just losing their tank. So that is not a good indicator for how these fights could go, as we're going to see part 2 of Flyby's initiation here, and they started off with a hit.
Oh my god, Borg switches to the Hanzo, picks off Baby XQC. This is the moment of opportunity. Best Bulby though whiffs that pin, but and kind of puts himself out of position, and the Coalescence comes from Limbo as a DPS support, but the defense melting through everything Flyby are throwing at them. But Borg has the Dragon Strike. I'm excited to see if maybe they're gonna wait for the garbage disposal, I guess it's called, when you pair it with the Graviton.
Yeah, no, that definitely could happen here momentarily, and that might be the opening that Flyby needs, because Gold absolutely nullified that last push. He got in or through the Hotel, around into the back line, was able to combine for a couple of kills. Here comes the Graviton though.
Oh, they get the combo first. The defense send Gold to act as like a sushi chef or whatever he's doing. He's very impressive. Dragon Blade just slices through Flyby, and they'll have to reconsider this next push. 2 minutes remain, but Flyby now have the option of going with the Riptire with the Graviton or the Dragon Strike with the Graviton. Nonetheless, both their support ultimates are pretty much online, and Best Bulby can act also as a crowd control ultimate. But here's a Graviton already from Flyby. It's going to be paired up also with the Dragon Strike. Baby XQC has the Deadeye, but gets shot away before he can have any value to it. Flyby step onto the point.
Yeah, Best Bulby, he seems a little bit tentative. He was getting in a good position there as he lays down the Earth Shatter to solidify this point. But I think he's struggling to find positioning, and you could see it in those first couple of fights where Gold was able to get in behind, Excel was swinging his hammer, and they were able to get the picks they needed. This time around, though, it's very difficult to counter the Dragon Strike on top of the Graviton Surge. That is some old school King's Row coming in here for the attackers, and Flyby are going to get through this archway, it seems, because they're playing very forward against the Baiters right now. They're going to try to come in and hold them before they pass this bookstore.
And recurve also wants to find a safe position. Oh, there's the Earth Shatter from Excel. Gets everybody down. They're melting through this. Gold is there with the double and the follow through from the defense. They stop this momentum. And where is recurve? He was too busy dealing with Baby XQC in the back to pop the Riptire that could have probably punished this defense for being so forward.
It's a blessing that he still has that, I guess. A blessing in disguise, as they may be able to do something with that, not to mention the sound barrier from Ultraviolet. But you gotta learn how to disengage Baiters. Otherwise, this is gonna keep happening. Gold comes in with another Dragon Blade combo.
The combo wombo does come in, but Ultraviolet has the sound barrier just in time to sort of negate some of this damage, but the damage has been done. They have to go back to spawn, and now they're getting staggered. I mean, little couple picks there, but maybe they can maybe capitalize on this.
Yeah, they're going to be reinitiating here with a very bold charge from the side of Best Bulby. He's going to be picked off, but they may have the ultimates to back it up. Here comes the Riptire.
They may have a chance, and it's going to start with Recurve's Riptire finding Folky in the double kill onto Wild, so Tank's out of the picture for Baiters, and they'll have to get back to contest this last point.
Yeah, they're going to have another shot here if they choose to take it. Good defense. You want to try to get the some time taken off before the bookshop here is passed around that first curve. Now they're going to get one more opportunity as Deadeye picks up Borg, and another Earth Shatter comes through, though, from Best.
But the Earth Shatter, yeah, gets 4, and Best Bulby's such an aggressive Reinhardt. is just gonna be batting everybody away. Mainly wants to get Excel out of the picture, who has the Earth Shatter, and there it is, slams down Best Bulby. Didn't have his shield up, but doesn't really amount to any kills. But and meanwhile, Folky, Sneaky Lucio has stalled all the distance, but I'm pretty sure they're still gonna get this point B.
Yeah, flyby there. They had the ultimates in their advantage. Baiters, I mean, that fight, they got a few picks. They got the charge, I believe, onto Folky. And that made them think they had the advantage in that fight. But the problem was the graviton from, from Big Hundo ended up turning it back in the favor of Flyby as another Earth Shatter from Best Bulby comes out to try to get this fight started.
Yeah, pretty good Earth Shatter. Would have liked the combo a little bit better with Bork's Dragon Strike. The triple Riptire, though, makes up for it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
now
that'll do it.
they're occupying the spawns of Baiters and trying to bring this payload home. 2.5 minutes left.
Yeah, and now you're going to see Baiters, their backs are up against the wall. They're going to get back onto this payload, but they're not going to be able to wait for full force to get here. Here comes the coalescence from Flyby as they're trying to push it home. Now all members in this fight, though, 6v6.
Yeah, their backline is going to be so protected because of this coalescence. Their frontline can just keep the shield up while they're eating all this damage. But your Baiters looking for a golden opportunity. Great pin from Excel and Baby XQC with the Riptire, Gold also with the Dragon Blade. They don't even need to use it quite yet. They force Flyby back.
Yeah, and Recurve, he had excellent positioning on the high ground right above the point. And he was laying down bombs, and that was a good frontline position for Flyby. But then Gold single-handedly applied enough threat to Recurve on that high ground by dashing up there that it forced him back. The rest of his team was not in position, and Baiters took advantage, aggressively starting that fight, going in and getting the kills that they needed. Baiters are going to be coming back. They're going to have a sound barrier, but on the other side, Baby XQC, he's got his tire out.
And he's waiting for maybe Wild to get the Graviton, but Flyby are so spread out, there's no point of using it, so that tire popped a little bit too early, gonna get spotted out. But here's the Graviton. Big Hondo actually gets taken out. He was so close to his own, and the kills following through with the defense, and Excel with the double kill, and these tanks are tearing this kill feed apart. With now 1 minute remains, Flyby go into this next fight with the greatest combo of them all, the Riptire and the Graviton.
Yeah, that's going to be something to watch here. They've got sound barrier as well. On the other side of things, yeah, it's real easy to be a tank when you've got Coalescence piercing through you. And Excel and Wild knew exactly when to get aggressive, and they were able to pull that one home for the team. Here we come. Bork getting an early kill onto Limbo is huge for this fight, especially with that Graviton coming in.
Yeah, they do pair the Graviton with the Riptire, but Excel was trying to go for the Earth Shatter to kind of stop this push from going on, but now he's so out of position, he's not going to be amounting to much. The payload trying to get to the end. Baiters waiting at the very last meter to get back on the payload. They don't have any ultimates to work with, but Best Bulby could be looking for the Earth Shatter, and there it is. It's paired with the Dragon Strike, and my voice is dying, but here we are with 3
That's how
points.
hype that fight was. You know, it's gonna be okay. It's all over now. Round 1 is complete, and yeah, you had called it, that Graviton into the Riptire. Well, it didn't hurt that they got the early pick onto Limbo, who was playing that Moira as well, but that is what solidified that last fight. And up until that point, all the fights for Flyby were just a little bit too scattered, not decisive enough. They really do rely on those ultimates. On the other side of things, Gold has been the difference maker here for Baiters. That last fight, he had Dragon Blade, wasn't able to find as much with it. When he does, that's a good sign for the Baiters. They tend to win those fights.
Yeah, and also think the Zaryas were just doing a great job of waiting for the best opportunity to pop these Gravitons, and I almost, oh my god, I ripped my voice, but Excel almost had like a really good thought there to try and counter that Graviton that came out of, I want to say Flyby? Yeah, the teams are still there. Flyby, where he went towards their backline as a Reinhardt and is like trying to Earth Shatter them as they're following through with the Graviton. So interesting idea, which, I mean, they still lost with that, but kind of an interesting flanker hero.
Yeah, and I mean, they've got some of those cheeky flanks, and it seems to be what the way they operate best. But here we're going to be flipping sides. Flyby going to be defending this time around, and right now, aren't they? Yeah. Right now they're showing 76 and Farah, interestingly enough, on top of that Big Hundo and Best Bulby Hog Orisa combination.
5, 4,
Yeah, the issue with this is Best Bulby won't, can't move his shield. Obviously, it's just going to be spawn there, but he can regenerate his shield faster than Excel will on the Reinhardt. But once, they get collapsed on, it's going to be hard for Best Bulby to adapt to that.
It's a high risk, high reward, and they might be able to hold a more advanced position, which is what they're trying to do now, but Best Bulby is getting focused and he's going to fall.
Yeah, Best Bulby getting already overwhelmed, and that's the beauty of having a Reinhardt over Orisa. They get to just hammer anybody who gets really close. And Recurve on this far has also been unstoppable. We've seen him back on Dorado, what he can do with that. And maybe they could walk... Well, actually, I got the teams mixed up, but Baiters will be taking the first take, and actually maybe even the whole thing.
They might be able to. It looks like they're going to get almost towards their second tick in this kind of extended fight. Recurve doing battle by himself largely on that point might give Flyby enough time for a successful defense. An Orisa shield comes right through the window. Not going to be providing much defense here for Flyby, but let's take a look here. Baby XQC doesn't get anything with that tire, which means Gold's Dragon Blade's going to be the next ultimate that's up, and I wouldn't be surprised if he pops it pretty early.
Yeah, this is a weird position from the defense. The shield was really far back. Transcendence going to be tossed for Ultraviolet just to buy time for this barrage coming out. But there's Gold from above, cuts him down. And I don't think really does much after that. But Limbo brings Excel back to the fight, so this offense can keep going. And the Earth Shatter is going to prove so, but not if Big Hundo brings out the whole hog and keeps the point to the defense.
Yeah, and honestly, so Recurve rather got 2 kills early in that fight. Gold was able to pick him up with the Dragon Blade after Ultraviolet's Transcendence was up. I mean, good timing from Gold. Wasn't able to get any follow-up kills, and that means Flyby, they're able to reinforce here, and now we're into a very scrappy fight with 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, very scrappy. I want to say, what, 4 versus 4 now? Recurve still really ignored up into the air, and he's going to build quickly to a barrage. Cades actually gets that res off to Best Bulby. Hope that still amounts to something, because Baiters are really close range, where now actually we might see a disengage from Baiters and a lot of swaps coming through.
Yeah, and Flyby... So it's very important here on Kings Row to be able to control where the fights are happening, control the ground. What Recurve is doing on the Farah right now, and not to mention the fact that they've got Best Bulby on Orisa, is they are making it very difficult for Baiters to control the ground, because wherever you're at, Recurve is going to be laying down rockets into your backline. But here comes the Graviton. This could be the opening for Baiters.
Oh, this should be, but Big Hundo brings the whole hog just to distance these guys away, but with Gold reflecting some of that, kind of spells a little bit of trouble. Everybody else goes down. Big Hundo is the last one. Bork up in the air trying to provide some support. He's going to disengage, and this is what the problem was with Flyby's defense. It's ranged heroes. The Orisa, the Soldier, the Farah, all players that excel farther away, and all Baiters had to do was close that distance.
And that's the thing, as soon as they break through kind of that Best Bulby, Big Hundo front line in any meaningful way, things just fall apart very quickly for Flyby. They're going to keep on this composition into point B. I don't disagree with that. The Streets phase here on Kings Row can be very good for this comp in general, but especially for this Farah. The question is what kind of impact is Earthshatter going to have here? Because Excel, they can time Best Bulby's shield a little bit better than the Reinhardt versus Reinhardt, but there's a flank here as Bork's got his ultimate being boosted by Mercy.
Yeah, I thought Bork actually disengaged with the rest of his team, but I guess he just hit up there and went back to pop the tac visor, which forces Baiters to go back. But you're exactly right. Excel just has to wait for Best Bulby's shield to go down or get broken by whoever, and it'll be a guaranteed grand slam. Everybody's going to go down. The street phase is extremely narrow, so I'm still not sure about this Orisa.
Yeah. Another thing to look for is where does Ultraviolet and all this, because Transcendence could nullify things, but Excel, he's gonna go for a cheeky flank as Recurve comes in from behind.
Wow, Recurve with the barrage finds the triple kill, supports and main tank out of the picture. This defense will also hold for now, where Baby XQC, I think this is the second time he's popped a Deadeye and he gets kind of destroyed before anything really amounts from it.
Yeah, and honestly, that was Baiters' fight to lose out in the offset. They were able to get an early pick onto Recurve, but he was brought back into the fight, And after that, it was all flybys. Bader's, I might need to rewatch that one because they had people on every side of that fight. Did not look very cohesive. They're looking for picks. They've got the ultimates that they can just go straight on. They can go at this head on, but they're still looking for flanks. Excel over here on the side, looking for a shatter opportunity.
Yeah, Baby XQC also getting picked really early there, really out of position. His tanks weren't there, so got sniped away. But Excel will be leading the way now, still looking for the Earth Shatter. As you said, just maybe even needs to go past Best Bulby, who pops the Sugar Charger, the Supercharger, where Excel has him in his sights, hammers him out of the way, doesn't even need to use the Earth Shatter because Gold is getting all the kills using that Dragon Blade earlier. Baders are looking good, but so much time has been burnt, Gilfrost. It's 1 minute left.
Yeah, and as I mentioned last time, you want to defend before this bookstore, and they were able to do so. Was Flyby. They only used a few ultimates. Excel still holding on to his Earth Shatter. They're going to have a Graviton as well, two of the most impactful ultimates in the game. Not a lot of natural ultimates to back that up with, but they may be able to do it with just pure damage.
Well, the pure damage is coming out. Baby XQC finally gets that Deadeye he was looking for. Tanks gone for Flyby. They do get point B. And Baders don't even need to use the Earth Shatter. The crowd control comes in on its own. They only had to use Wild's Graviton and the Deadeye earlier. Where
good discipline from them, yeah, in that one. Because now they're going to have that one for this fight. Folky has built up his sound barrier. Gold has proven that he can build up blades fairly quickly as well. Right now they're going to be down in ultimates. Recurve has been going deep for his barrages once or twice. And here he is going again.
Oh, he gets stunned out of it! Oh my goodness!
He still gets a kill though onto Limbo. That was incredible.
I don't even know how it happens, but the awareness out of Baby XQC, but Excel with the Earth Shatter does at least get Zarya down, but it forces the Transcendence, so great value still. While meanwhile, Borg pops Attack Visor for the double kill, and the defense reinforced.
And that was a brilliant ultraviolet, an ultimate ultraviolet. It was a good Transcendence from the red team. No, Vaders, he actually, ultraviolet saw that Excel was going in for the Shatter, popped his ultimate, kept his team alive, gave them this opportunity now to get the Graviton.
Maybe could have waited for the Coalescence to be out of the picture before popping the Graviton, but Gold will be reaching towards the back line. Bork is going to try and snipe him, but misses. And the juicy target of Mercy, there she is, and no longer available. Baders looking for the third point. They got 30 seconds left and pretty much equal time banks on both sides.
Yeah, and I am not a big fan of that Widow pickup. That is not the desperation pick you want here on a very fast point C. Flyby are going to contest, try to push this into overtime, and they've got a couple kills in their bank. Recurve, well, he's going to be brought back on that Bastion.
What is even happening? Gold is going to reflect all of that Bastion bullets right back at him. But this Best Bulby pin out of nowhere gets Excel out of the picture, and he lands the Earth Shatter.
Yeah, and High Noon, it's going to be a little bit harder to get past Best Bulby's shield this time around. The respawn advantage here for Flyby means that if they can solidify on this point, Recurve going to try to do that just now, but not going to be able to do so by himself.
Wow, that's some true desperation coming out of Flyby with the Bastion, like kind of questionable. Usually you see like a Mei as a stall pick because she can just freeze herself and buy that like 5-10 seconds, but
well, and that could be the Bastion pickup there, especially at the end of point C here. Both for the attackers and the defenders can actually be very good if you have time to solidify and basically force the other team to pick and engage. The problem is that those last couple of fights were so fluid. There was never actually a reset for the Bastion to get into a position and the rest of the team to get into a position to really enable him, that it didn't work out in that case. A little bit forced for sure. It could work in other circumstances. It is kind of a Hail Mary at the end. Either way you slice it, both teams were able to make it all the way to point C. But we are going to be moving on. This is a scrim.
yeah.
Is it, by the way, is it Flyby or Flyboy? Because I wrote down Flyboy, but then it's Flyby. It is Fly. Okay.
I guess we're gonna go with Flyby. I don't know. But these maps are flying by. That's for sure. I just don't All right, all right. But oh my god, I don't know if you saw that pin, but just Excel came from spawn and just pinned Best Bulby right off the map and then Earth Shattered, and I'm like, oh my god. Which really, if they wanted to have recurve on this Bastion, that actually could have worked if they had a shield there to just temporarily
Yeah,
protect him.
right?
Because gold was
Exactly.
reflecting everything at him, so it's Bastion is probably the worst pick you want to go for if they have Tracer Genji out.
Yeah, once again, theoretically could have worked, not necessarily executed very well, but that's also probably something that, you didn't really plan for. You almost never plan for bringing a Bastion on that last point. So not all the members of the team's on the same point there, on the same page, rather. We're going to control point next, and it's going to be Nepal. Most of the control maps, you can see some Pharah. With recurve, how he's playing on it, I don't think you need to switch off of it at this point. And they are going to be hovering it at the very least at the beginning of this one.
Oh, pharmacies, I think definitely are going to be coming out, especially when they try and make it work on maps that don't usually have
Yeah.
pharmacies. So,
Yeah, right. If you're going to play it throughout the entirety of King's Row and most of Dorado, anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if they see it again. But just as we say that, curse you, recurve,
curse.
maybe actually bringing a different explosives expert to the field of battle from down under, Junkrat. So
And
we'll
also
see.
Orissas. Like, they've been trying to make Orissas also work on maps that don't work for Orissas. So here, this is an Orissa map.
Makes sense. Yeah, this is one of the quintessential Orissa points. Of course, if you're unfamiliar with this, which of course, none of you are unfamiliar with it, but I'm going to tell you anyway. No, I mean, there's this large pit. ZP would say that there's Mondada's gold down there, unproven, completely false, I would have to say. But there's a lot of areas where you can get pulled into that, and so both teams are actually going to be bringing Orissa to this one. It also means that this is going to be somewhat of a siege on the high ground.
And very interesting support picks from both these sides. You got Mercy Zenyatta, so they have that resurrect ability, but she doesn't really have someone to fall back on if things kind of collapse on top of her, while Flyby have Mora, so very great close range healing, able to fade away as well, and they have the sound barrier and the early cap for Flyby, able to pressure away, and Excel brings Hundo to hell.
That's actually huge, because Wild was the one that actually went down early in the same fashion, which is going to give the first point over here to Flyby. But the thing is, with that late pick onto the Roadhog, means Baders is going to have another opportunity to come in here.
And Bader is able to go for that resurrect onto Baby XQC. They have that pillar control. Now just need to collapse onto Flyby, who are just hiding in these hallways here. Cade's just buying a little bit more time. Bork really needs to sprint away. He's not going to be able to save Big Hundo there. And the point is retaken by Baders, who built up quite an ultimate pool. Almost 5 on the pool.
Yeah, not to mention Folky is going to get his, I mean, he's going to get that 5th one pretty quickly. And on the other side of things, I mean, Katie's maybe is going to have the Coalescence. They're still waiting for a few more ults to come on board. High noon from Baby XQC. Zoning ultimate.
Zoning ultimate, quote unquote, or just kind of a useless ultimate when you do it into an Orisa shield, but a quick, ooh, the Holt off picks off the double. Oh my goodness, Excel has been excelling quite well in these Holts, and they're able to get the resurrect again once he's taken out of that fight. So making up for the numbers, and they push Flyby back.
Yeah, and that's Excel at 3 pulls off into the pit. And on the other side, well, it's only 1 for Best Bulby. It was pretty impactful, but they're going to need to find more than that. And there's Harry ties it right on up, and that is the opening that Baders needed. Or Flyby needed.
Yeah, the last minute Riptide from Recurve allows them to retake the point, only giving up 56% to Baders. But sort of equal ultimates on both these sides, mainly the Sound Bear and the Transcendence, I think are going to be the game changers.
Yeah, I'm going to see when we pop that, because Volky, he's done a pretty good job of popping that at the right time. Maybe a little bit early if I had to critique him at all, but, well, you're going to want to wait for the res here. No, he's going to pop it right now. They get the res, and here comes the Riptire.
Here, Zenyatta should not be your front line, but it does allow the Deadeye to go through and pick off Bork, who has the tac visor in the back pocket, which would have been a great strategy for Flyby to take back the point, but they are just desperately losing this fight. Their tanks are getting blown out by Gold on this Junkrat.
Yeah, 70%. They're going to get up towards 75 before this fight is over, but this is why I love Nepal so much. Yeah, unlike other maps like Oasis, where you can delay and stall things out forever, this one, fights tend to be a lot more decisive, and especially with these two teams' playstyles, we're seeing the back and forth happen. With a few kills, going over to Flyboy at the end of that fight, Vaders are going to step off the point temporarily, waiting for the reinforcements and delaying out as long as they can, but Flyby, they're going to retake this point.
Just the random double boop from Ultraviolet. He's like, hey guys, I did a thing. Let's get on the point. And Bork gets the right click onto, I think, another hero. So Vaders were 3 down, and they smartly starting to back off and gave that point up quite quickly to Flyby, where Recurve is going to keep up this defense with the Riptire and the Coalescence, also to reinforce the front line.
Yes, we've got Bork in the back. He's trying to get off a flanking visor. Gonna get 1 kill onto Gold. That's a huge pickup with how impactful Gold has been, but Baby XQC, he says, I am also going to be impactful this fight. It's the retake from Vaders in overtime. It's gonna give them an opportunity to take this first point.
Baby XQC literally gives the definition of zoning ultimate to Deadeye. I never really see him pop it for much purpose besides zoning.
And honestly, like, I think he just realized how frustrating it is to pop it when he thinks it's going to be impactful and then just dying. So you just start throwing him away, and I can respect that to a certain degree. The initiation coming out here, though, from Flyby as they're trying to take this one 99-99. Best Bulby gets pulled off.
Oh, these tanks. So many environmental kills have been going on this map. Hence why Flyby just going to take the hallway route. 99-99. Recurve's Riptire could spell trouble. Gets Limbo and Baby XQC, but I think the rest still went through, but it doesn't matter. Flyby have still 4 members remain. And they do take this map 100-99.
Okay, well, I've gotten my fill of environmental kills for today. No more environmental kill maps, please. I'm talking to you, Well. There were just so many, and it was so hard to call those fights, honestly, because those are X factors in those fights. I mean, ultimates aside, movement and positioning aside, if you get multiple people getting pulled into the pit, that fight can go any which way, and it did, in fact, go all of the way, 99-100 in the end. Going over to Flyby, we're going to be coming into Shrine.
If I had advice to give, I think it goes by a song, you know, Step Away from the Edge, my friend. And everybody hanging way too close.
We need
to
this
the
is
edge.
a moment of silence now, and just that's really thought-provoking.
Step away from the edge, my
but
friend.
we do see 2 different approaches from these teams coming in this next point. Best Bulby, he's going to be on the Reinhardt, and the other side, Excel, going to be teaming up with Gold for the 2-2-2 dive, and they are the ones trying to solidify on the point right now. Flyby pushing back though.
Cades and is going to be the one that picks up the Mercy roll, though. Bork getting that initial pick onto Baby XQC. Vader's missing a DPS, but they also lose the main tank. Best Bull doing the best to hammer everybody away from the point, but this looks like a pretty good capture here for Flyby.
Yeah, Recurve coming back with the Pharah. Relatively unanswered. This is a point that can work for McCree. But really what happened that time around, I think that Vaders didn't know what to expect here. They weren't in a good position to deal with Recurve. Recurve could just lay down those rockets onto the point every which way. And as soon as Excel's shield was down, they didn't have any way to deal with it. Let's see if they can position a little bit differently and try to deal with Recurve a little bit better this time around. And they are trying to do so, as they do actually get Katie's.
And Gold swaps onto the Tracer, wants to duel it out against Bork, but that early pick onto Cades going to spell trouble. They also miss Best Bulby. They trade that onto a tank, but all the supports are out of the picture for Fly. Even Bork responds with a pulse bomb. This is maybe not over yet unless Bork can buy enough time for reinforcements, but really just padding the percentage that they have so far.
Yep, I mean, able to get him a few extra seconds there. You can see some of the respawns are coming in for Flyby, but you know, wait till you get full strength. You don't want to give up an extra percentage. Vaders is going to have the point on lock for now, and now that they've got full force, Tracer on the outside is going to be forcing out the sound barrier from full.
Bit of an early sound barrier though, because here's the Graviton right after, paired with Recurve's Barrage. Baby XQC here for the Deadeye. It does get a kill, not just for zoning. Gets the second kill as well. 3 versus 1. The Lucio needs to run away. Folky laser to death. And Flyby retake the point.
Yeah, they do indeed. They're... Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I mean, and that rocket barrage was almost textbook, and there's nothing to really deal with that. Excel, as soon as his shield is down, and especially with Big Hundo, who was able to get the Graviton on the ground, there's no running away from that. And Baders fall fairly quickly in that fight. They're going to be reinitiating here with a Pulse Bomb on a Big Hundo.
Oh, the Earth Shatter right into a Winston barrier, question mark, but Baders are gonna have the advantage here, taking off Best Bulby for questionable Earth Shatter. But earlier, we saw the replay of the barrage. Where is Baby XQC's stun? I don't know if it was on cooldown, but your job is not to Deadeye into a barrage. Your job is to kill her as fast as possible, whether it is with a stun or a shot. The stun would have done the job better, maybe even save 3 of his teammates. But Baders will be trying to even up the numbers here. They're at 55%.
I don't think there's a single area on the point where that stun cannot land. You cannot get high enough for that to happen. Ultraviolet gonna pop the sound barrier in this fight, and here comes Recurve once again.
Best Bulby has been picked twice now so early in these fights. Here's the zoning ultimate, the second time he's picked off Recurve. But Recurve is so close to a barrage, not going to want to swap quite yet. Don't think there's enough hit scan pressure coming from Baders, but they do take the lead here. So Flyby need to think fast. They got the barrage, they got close to a Graviton. This could be the combo that they need to retake.
And they got the D-Mech onto Wild, and they got Excel. So Excel's going to be coming back to this fight, which means Flyby have the tank advantage. They're going to use it. They're going to push up onto the point, but they're going to lose their healer at the beginning of this one.
Oh, the early sound barrier again from Folky, but the triple kill from Baby XQC. Here's the Graviton here from Big Hundo, but Recurve isn't there to slam the barrage right into it. All they have to stall is Ultraviolet on this Lucio. So although Flyby had the combo available to them, it did not work out.
Yeah, and finally, Baders are able to deal with Recurve and Cades. And, I mean, I don't know if you can really reliably bet on 3 headshots in a row, but Baders was able to do it, and they tie things up 1-1. And that is going to definitely make Flyby think. Recurve, at the very beginning of that point, was able to make things happen with the Pharah, able to win multiple fights, get the percentage up in their favor. But once Baby XQC and the rest of Baders figured out how to position around the Pharah, making sure Recurve didn't have freedom on the point to just rain down those rockets, they were able to pick up some fight wins, pick up the kills that they needed, and we're actually going to be seeing pretty much the same compositions from both sides this time around. Best Bulby is going to be switching things off onto the Winston, however. High ground being pressured from them. Meanwhile, Baders, they're going to go try to get onto the point.
Yeah, Death Ball for Baders playing towards the point, as you said. Flyby gonna have Best Bulby here on this high ground, just waiting for the moment to collapse. And here he is dropping down, but he's gonna eat that hammer from Excel. So just buying a little bit of time. You can see a little bit of disorganization from Flyby. They step onto the point, but do they really want to deal with Excel once he gets onto the point? They lose. Baders lose gold, so they don't decide to engage for some reason.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, the Death Ball rotation on to the point from Baders is not going to net them the point. And the reaction from Flyby, they were able to get that Winston into position on the higher ground, pushed Baders back off of the point and into the open area where Recurve has freedom to rain down those rockets. And it was a much too small of an area that Baders were operating in, much too easy for Recurve, and now they're just staggering kills.
Borg got that triple kill earlier. That's amazing. It's really keeping this defense together, and Baders had actually gotten that pick onto Cades, which could have opened a window of opportunity for Baders to engage the point, but they're a little bit shy. Okay,
seems. But look out. Baby XQC, he's got Deadeye available. I think he's gotten some kills with it. That's what's just I'm going to say. Borg, by the way, he's flanking on the Tracer, but Baders, they just want to get on the point.
Well, let's see if he can maybe be a baby Calvin, I guess. Uses the Deadeye to go after a Tracer who recalls. So an absolute waste of a Deadeye. Again, not even to zone, but barrage from recurve in close range quarters means he's gonna get immediately dove, but at least gets one kill. And after the fact, Baiters are in the number advantage and only give up, well, I wouldn't say only give up, but they give up 73% to Flyby.
Yeah, only 73%. No, that I mean that is good. That's going to mean that even if they lose one more fight, that's not the end probably for them. As long as they lose it decisively enough, they should be able to re-engage. And well, they brought I was going to say they brought a composition that should be able to stay alive fairly well on the point, but Excel has switched off of that Reinhardt. It wasn't working out, and they lose gold early.
Oh, self-destruct late from behind, but everyone's able to get to cover. But Flyby able to resurrect. Big Hundo gets back into mech. Gold not there to prevent it, where now Flyby move on to the point. And a few people missing here from Baiters. Supports out of the picture, tanks as well. Gold needs to quickly get out of there, but he was trying to stall and he's gonna get punished.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if maybe you wish you had gold on that Genji this time around. That you might be able to use that hero play of a Genji Dragon Blade to make something happen. They're going to switch off onto Pharah, and they're not going to have a mercy for themselves. So Gold's job is just going to be to distract Hades and recurve, or if they fall early, that's another way to go, scrambling to the point.
And it's not even the front lines that are the issue, it's Baby XQC is getting harassed from Borg, so these Deadeyes amount to nothing. And with one DPS out of the picture, Flyby can steamroll these Baiters can, or Flyby was supposed to steamroll this after that pick on the XQC, but somehow, fighting onto the point, Baiters take it back.
Yeah, I would need to watch that again to see exactly what happened, but one pick doesn't necessarily net you the fight. Especially in the end there. I think maybe Flyby just didn't rotate fast enough to adapt to the Baiters going straight to the point. Now we got Recurve and Gold dueling it out in the air. Recurve's got to land a couple of key rockets to actually get any kills. Meanwhile on the ground, well, we've got sound barriers for both sides.
And Recurve also could be looking for the barrage, but has to get Gold out of the picture, like you said. But meanwhile, in the ground war, there's a Primal Rage and a barrage from Recurve that gets absorbed from Wild and pretty much reflected back into space. So, not the most effective barrage, but they still win the fight.
They still win the fight, and that is the important aspect of this Recurve. With his dying breath, was able to solidify the kills that Flyby needed to take this point. Gold now going to be switching over to Genji, really just getting back to that point as fast as possible. Ultraviolet with some consolation kills at the end of this one. Beware, Lucio does do damage. Good delay from Baiters, but I think it's too little too late.
Oh, self-destructed by a little time, but not going to be allowed to get back into mech. Lucio speed boosting there along with the Tracer, but the 2-1 victory here on Nepal, or yeah, Nepal, will be earned.
Yeah, right.
I was like, oh god, that's the one map that always confuses me, but to Flyby, and it seemed like a lot more dominant than the scores really tell the story. And Baby XQC waiting, I think, a little bit too long to switch off of the McCree, which usually McCree is the counter to Tracer. So maybe shy to use these stuns, not hitting the stuns, but Borg should not be harassing Baby XQC as much as he is.
And that's the thing. That was definitely a big key for Flyby and their victory there. And we saw how impactful Baby XQC could be in dealing with Pharah when relatively uncontested on that McCree on the second point, which was Shrine. And it was manifested in that triple headshot kill towards the end when they were able to tie things up at 1-1. But as soon as you start dealing with Baby XQC and getting to the back line, Gold was unable to hold that line, the DPS, by himself, and Flyby were able to make that work a lot better with Recurve on the Pharah. We're going now away from control point. It seems like we're going to Eichenwald.
Eichenwald, and yeah.
Eichenwald, however you want to pronounce it,
Yeah, it's like a W, but I guess it's pronounced with a V. I don't know.
It is. Well, okay, so I speak German.
Oh, fun
and
fact.
there are several ways of saying it. But yeah, I think Eichenwalde is how I would say it. But
do you pronounce the E at the end? Like
a little bit. I might be over pronouncing it. I also am not from Germany, so like, don't judge me. I can just kind of like, to other people, I can sound like I might have been there once. I know how to ask where the bathroom is. These are the important things you need to know when you know a foreign language. Also, you need to know map names, and I'm just gonna pronounce it like any true American would. Eichenwald.
Yeah, that sounds like,
Eichenwald. Dang it, I can't even do it.
is it Wald, Bavald? I usually go by how Overwatch, the
Yeah.
Overwatch announcer says it, so
Mm-hmm.
I can Vald or something.
Yeah, that's why that's the rule. That's a good rule of thumb. Kind of like Farah, the Farah debate. Well, when when the announcer says it, she says Farah, and I think also Farah says Farah. Farah reporting.
Or Route 66. A lot of people are like, "Oh,
Ooh,
route or route." I'm like,
oh
the
God.
person clearly says route,
Well, and
but
there's the song. Okay, there's a whole song about this. People, get culture, please.
as we butcher Eichenwald's
Yeah.
actual
Okay.
pronunciation.
Don't judge. Like, listen, you're not supposed to bring those things up.
Yeah, you're right.
No, that's probably true. But yeah, so here we are. It looks like it is going to be. As I figure out these teams. Wait, is that a sub?
Oh my God, which
Nomad
one?
is
Guys
in.
doesn't belong. Oh, Nomad. Yeah.
For Flyby, right? That's Flyby.
Yeah.
I know the teams. Yeah. Nomad's showing the Pharah right now on attack, so still have plenty of time to switch off, but one of the most notable switches here is Baby XQC, who was on the McCree, is giving that over to Gold. He's going to be on the Pharah this time around, and we're going to have a Pharah v Pharah battle. Not to mention that, but 2 Mercies as well.
And that sub also subs in Recurve, who was sort of the star Pharah player from Flyby in the past, so we just seen him. We'll see if he can keep up, but not yet. Baby XQC, the early pick there.
Yeah, and that's going to stop this attack in its tracks. I don't know if maybe they didn't expect to see that Pharah in the air. Gold, probably Gold elims right now with some kills there. But the spawn is so close that Flyby are going to be able to have another shot at this. Already starting to push back Bader's defense here. Taking a look at this one, Gold already working up to 75% of his Deadeye. That might be a little surprising. I wouldn't have guessed it based on this percentage, so he may be able to surprise him with this as they jump onto the point.
Ooh, and the collapse comes in. Baby XQC, the first pick of the game. Best Bolby, main tank will be out for Flyby. They're going to decide to disengage after that. Not only that, but Big Hundo loses the mech. So if you look at the comps, really, it's Bader's in sort of an advantage. They have Gold on the McCree, who counters Bork, and Baby XQC already proving he's the superior Pharah.
Yeah, and Best Bolby, this is not the first time he's gotten picked early for going too deep. I think that if I had to choose between the two of them, it's better to be a little bit too aggressive than a little bit too passive. But maybe going a little bit too far, because he's going to be trying to look for a flank opportunity right now. Jumps onto the point.
Oh, and there was the Deadeye from Gold earlier, but surprisingly did not catch the Pharmacy up in the sky. Kills following, still in the way of the defense, but a pulse bomb from Borg could spell trouble, but doesn't amount to much. Best Bolby now has to disengage, didn't get the memo that the party is now canceled, and he needs to leave quickly.
Yeah, and they're gonna, well, leave fairly slowly. Baby XQC, it's not just Deadeyes that he throws around. He's going to go ahead and lay down a barrage. Does get 1 kill, but he's brought down because of it. Katie's actually getting credit for that one, and that's the turning point here for Flyby. They've got the reinforcements, they got a closer spawn, and it looks like they're going to get the point.
Yeah, the zoning barrage kind of costed not only him, but his Mercy's life. And Flyby capitalizing on that mistake and rolling into the point. And they're quickly trying to contest also that high ground. Well, maybe not yet, but that will be the goal coming into this next phase of Eichenwald.
Yeah, and especially with Pharahs in the auras. Okay, I'll work on that. No, but with Pharah, that is going to be a major point of contention. So both teams are starting to posture towards it. The payload still hasn't pushed down here, so they don't have to contest it quite yet. You can already see Tracer trying to move in around that side. Best Bull be looking to dive up here, and it's going to happen any second. Just
yeah, he wants to dive up there with the Primal Rage and bat everybody down and hopefully into a barrage or something like that. But here is the start of Best Bulby's dive. Big Hundo is by his side. Nomad is also there with the barrage. The pulse bomb from Bork doesn't do much except gets the DMAC on the Wild, and the second kill to Zenyatta, where the self-destruct from Wild. I think just ends up kind of zoning temporarily, but the payload is moving fast for Flyby.
Yeah, and that was a good self-destruct by Big Hundo, throwing it over the high ground. The payload had pushed to the point, and the fight had pushed to the point where Baiters needed to back off away from that high ground, more towards this bridge side, and it actually forced them all to separate, which gave Flyby the opportunity to clean up the kills that they needed. Now the delay coming out from Baiters, they might be able to stop them here, and this would be huge because that spawn for Flyby is very far away.
Oh, and some justice comes out after the Valkyrie in the scare, but a reflecting Baby XQC barrage just gets eaten up and punished from Big Hundo. They get to point B just narrowly after a last-minute stall comes in, but kind of some throwing ultimates, a couple barrages that were not as well placed, but gets the job done.
I won't judge them too much, mostly because I'm expecting them to switch. Of course, I should suspend my expectations as a caster just because of the curse. But yeah, you thought the third point on Dorado was tight quarters. Well, it's even tighter here, but Baby XQC and Nomad, they don't care. They're still going to be on the far out.
Yeah, and also Limbo switches, I think it was the Mercy, and now goes on to the Ana. So, so who's gonna heal Baby XQC? You know, up in the air, it's very difficult as the Ana.
Well, honestly, Folky can do it in these close quarters, but yeah, no, that is the thing. And it might be an advantage that Cades and Flyby can bank on, as they are gonna have a stronger Bar of Mercy combo. Once again, though, I just don't think you should bring it to this point. I guess this is a scrim, so we're testing some things out here.
Well, yeah, we definitely expected those Junkrat swaps to come in after those thrown barrages, but not going to happen quite yet. Self-destruct laid behind from Wild. This just build a little bit of space with that pick on from Baby XQC onto the main tag. Best Bolby, always the first one picked for the offense.
Yeah, here's what I want to see. I want to see Best Bolby switch on to the Reinhardt, and I want to see Nomad. I don't know if you play it, but I want to see some Reaper up in here. Close quarters, you've got Excel diving in. And not to mention Wild, they may be able to rip through that frontline beef with that composition. Not going to do it quite yet. They've got a couple bombs in their inventory. The big one and the little one. Big Hundos and Forks. If they can find any payment with those, they may be able to get around this corner, but Baiters have been strong in their third point defense.
Oh, Big Hundo sends a self-destruct right behind the Winston barrier, but the sound barrier is triggered from Ultraviolet. They still have Cades' Valkyrie in the back pocket, but their backline is exposed with Excel just feeding damage, which allows Baby XQC to come in with a barrage double kill, supports out for the offense, and even gets the D-Mech onto Big Hundo.
We got a Tracer being sneaky back here, but Baby XQC is going to find him. That honestly is just going to delay things out. No, but while that's happening, the unimportant Tracer battle that's happening in the back line. Yeah, I mean, Big Hundo's going to switch off here. Best Bolby does switch over to the Reinhardt, but what I was going to say is Big Hundo's Diva Bomb, the mech didn't quite land where it needed to be. Wasn't able to get anything with that. Best Bolby died early in that fight as well. And they're going to lose multiple members due to that huge pulse bomb from Gold.
What a pulse bomb from Gold proves that he can play Tracer and also Genji. But I like the swaps coming in from Flyby. Finally, they get Borg off of this Tracer. I was gonna say, if they're gonna run Deathball, they need someone to stay behind the shield. They got far up in the air and Tracer in the backline. They got nobody to really profit from the shield from Best Bolby, but this could be a lot stronger of a comp.
This is going to make it more difficult for Flyby to, or excuse me, Baiters to position with all the bombs coming in. They're going to back off for now. They need to start getting kills, this Flyby, if they're going to take it.
These bars are having such a hard time, and the self-destruct does pick up Nomad and Ultraviolet, and the kills falling in the way of the defense. 3 down. Let's see if Best Bolby can make it out. No, he doesn't, and Cades uses the fade, so he's going to get picked off as well. So Flyby just struggling to make it work. Borg gets off the Junkrat immediately. I guess maybe that's not his comfort pick, because it is quite strong onto this one, actually, probably just to get back to the payload on time, because there's just a few seconds left.
Oh, it just barely gets back, but yeah, that's the thing. They're going to lose multiple members. The sleep dart and pushback means Best Bolby is not going to get there. Round 1 is indeed complete. Baiters, they lost the first couple of points fairly quickly, but were able to solidify very well on point C. And I do have to say, while they did a good job of positioning and executing their team comp, part of the reason that went the way it did has to be the fact that Flyby did not really adapt to point C very well. I think they stayed on Pharah way too long.
Both teams like running a
Yeah.
Pharah into point C of Eichenwald is just so unheard of. There's such a low ceiling, so you get caught from even tracers and self-destructs as we saw earlier. So with both these weird comps, it really favored the defense. They could get back to the payload much faster, while Flyby had such a more difficult task to even just get through the doorway.
Yeah, and haters are gonna say, no, it works, it can work, it can totally work. And I'm just gonna say, like, I have seen Torbjorn do some amazing things. That does not mean it's the best strategy to bring onto that point. And I mean, the results speak for themselves as well. If it doesn't work the first couple of times, the chances are that trend is going to continue. So, well, this is a scrim, so I mean, these teams are going to be practicing various things, and so we can't get inside their minds and see why they're making the decisions that they are. But if their only goal there was to win that point, maybe questionable decision making. That said, we have reset. We're flipping sides. This time around, Flyby is going to be on the defensive. They are going to be keeping Nomad on that far. On the other side of things, we're seeing a little bit of a switch up here. Maybe XQC is going to be playing tank this time around, as Excel looks like one of their Widowmaker players.
Well, this is definitely interesting. We'll see if Baby XQC can channel his actual XQC with this Winston play, but it's a tough job. Winston's one of the most difficult heroes to play, and they have to now triumph over the shield of Orisa and also the hooks from Big Hundo, who's the direct counter to Winston. So he needs to play very closely with Wild, and Limbo at the last second swaps to Ana.
Yep, Big Hundo starting things off with a kill onto Folky, and that is going to stop Vader's attack in its tracks. Some nice adaptations there from them. They're going to lose Wild. The trickling kills definitely in favor of Flyby in this one, but maybe XQC switching onto the McCree. I want to talk about that in that they may be able to use that to apply more pressure to Nomad. The problem is they need to be able to push back this beefy front line of Big Hundo and Best Bulby.
Yeah, I like these YOLO picks that are coming out, but they get back onto their comfort picks. Excel and Wild, we saw how good they can perform onto King's Row with this comp. Now stepping onto the point, this could spell trouble here for the defense. They got a Deadeye, not just for zoning, picks off Cades, which is so important. Now they have to deal with the front line. They zone them off, and this is good for Baders.
This is just a perfect example of the feast or famine nature of Big Hondo on that Hog and Best Bulby on that Orisa. You can potentially hold in positions where other tank lines would not be able to and get picks. With the frequency of Orisa's shield and just the overall tankiness and survivability of Roadhog. But as soon as your opponents find a way to get past that, to push through, it becomes a little bit more broken. And in this case, Baders was able to push through, and now they're going to be trying to do it once again. Best Bulby did switch, though.
Oh, I love these anti-heals that come out of Limbo, able to take Big Hundo out of this picture and like deny him that take a breather ability. They're still moving this payload though, and well, it's not looking good. Flyby have to use the whole Hog. Best Bulby trying to push up with him, and Flyby are gonna hold this choke.
They are, and the payload's going to start moving back a little bit here. I think it's just close enough that this choke is going to be where they're going to be focusing. They still have Big Hundo on that Roadhog, and that's going to be such a presence, a threat to anyone from the side of Baders that's going to try to initiate here, but Bulky is going to try to push him back with that sound barrier.
That pin from Excel, this is going to start things off good, but trades going back and forth. Now all the tanks out for Flyby. They just need to focus down Bork, and now maybe even get Nomad, but he's nowhere to be found. He's disengaging really quickly, which gives them some free distance to get into the bridge phase here by Eichenwald.
Yeah, and this is going to work out a little bit differently than on the other attack here. So when Flyby were trying to push the payload onto the second point B here across the bridge, Baders was trying to scramble to get on there. This time around, Flyby is going to have a little bit more of an opportunity to solidify their defense, and this could be a point where they can hold forever, especially with Nomad starting things off like that.
That was just so weird. He's coming from the bottom, and now he's killing himself. I don't know if he screwed up his rocket jump, but what a weird push from Flyby. The tanks are completely disengaged from the DPS, but they just carried that fight somehow.
Yeah, that one was an interesting one. Another one of those ones that I think I'd have to fully understand. But one thing that I understand that's happening right now is Baby XQC has seen that Bork has switched onto the Widowmaker, and challenge accepted. He's going to be switching over himself. Now, there are different ways of getting on to the payload from here. It's on the other side of the point. Gold! He's gonna wish he had that Dragon Blade back as they try to go straight towards the gates, but they're gonna lose too many members early to make that work.
Yikes, that Dragon Blade just got completely destroyed, and along with the follow-up that thought that was gonna have more value than it did. But Baiters will have to back off, and I think Limbo hasn't really used the Nano Boost in a while. There really hasn't been much of an opportunity.
Yeah, well, and I, by the way, love the fact that Anna is back in it. We already been talking about some sleep darts and anti-heals, but no, the payload has been all the way on this payload, or of the bridge rather, and I think that Baiters were expecting Flyby to be defensively positioned on that side of the bridge, so they thought they were going to flank. They just ran right into the meaty defense, right in front of them. But this time around, they are going to rotate around more towards the payload, separate this fight a bit. But Bork starts this off with another kill onto Gold. That's the second fight in a row he's died first.
Well, Baiters move onto the payload without their support, so Anna's trying to get back with Folky, and Flyby just cut them in half. Just the hammers coming in, or sorry, not the hammers, but the damage that came in from Flyby to get the supports out, and then to punish Baiters for being so divided.
Yeah,
and now 1 minute 20 remain.
They're doing a good job of rotating around and meeting Baiters wherever they are and forcing them into bad situations. Gold, once again, well, actually, no, he gets Bork, forcing the res, but Nomad's got that barrage, and yeah, I gotta say, Baby XQC, I have not seen him on the left side of that kill feed, which, as we all know, left side is the best side.
I see what you did there. But what a weird combination of the Transcendence and the Fire. I remember back on Dorado, you said it can't be done, but what did happen here?
Oh, I just, premonitions coming out here. Yeah, so Baiters, they're struggling to find a point of ingress. Limbo still holding on. Now going to be using that Nano Boost.
Oh, the Nano Boost onto Excel, but gets kind of caught in the Graviton, but will have a bit of freedom now, but has to deal with an Angry Monkey of Best Bulby, who I think Limbo got a sleep dart, but not onto the right character, as Best Bulby just creates so much space, divides this offensive team of Baiters. They're still into the payload, but it's just the support. Almost the boops off Best Bulby, but not gonna happen.
Yeah, and honestly, a great job by Flyby. They are more than willing to take this fight in these close quarters on the castle side of things, but now that we've moved onto the payload, it is starting to move towards point B, and in that extended fight, Baiters looks like they are going to be able to get it at least very close.
When a team is engaging a Tracer, they always have to call out her recalls. That's the most important thing about a Tracer, and why Gold had no value to that Dragon Blade is because all Tracer had to do was just recall and blink out of that situation. So not a well-timed Dragon Blade, but the overtime goes in their favor and they get to point B.
Yeah, and Gold, he has had some very impactful Dragon Blades, but he has had some where he just is pulling them out too early and not in the right, not at the right time. He's been shut down quite a bit on that one. Limbo is now switching over to Zenyatta. Ultraviolet on the other side is already gonna, he's gonna have his Transcendence coming up in this next fight. Nomad is the one to watch though, as that is not gonna be the one to watch as he goes down.
Yeah, again, these fires are not strong on this last point. The ceilings are too low, but the defense are starting to reinforce. It's 4 versus 3. Baiters in a disadvantage right now, but they have so many ultimates that could be used. 40 seconds remain, looking for Folky Sound Bearer to really keep them alive, and Wild also has Graviton online. They could pair it with Baby XQC's Pulse Bomb, and this could be the win for them.
It could indeed. Nomad's still the one to watch, as they were able to win that fight was Flyboys. They have got one more fight that they need to win, and here comes the grab.
Oh, it traps everybody in it, and they combine it with Gold's Dragon Blade. And Baby XQC does get some love in there too, but the payload will make it to the winning box of victory. And Baders will take Eichenwald and even up the series, I believe.
Oh, yeah. That was so sad at the very end. To see 2 support ultimates used when no one else is alive. Both the Transcendence and the Coalescence coming out just a little bit too late. And you needed to have those available and used to keep Pharah in the battle. Nomad had the barrage, was not able to use it in the last 2 fights. And I do have to give it up to Baders for the pace at which they fought those last 2 fights that made it difficult for Flyby to deal with it. But we are going to be moving on to a different map. It's not going to be Gibraltar, though. They are very adamant about it. Limbo does not want that, actually.
But you did point out that Nomad could have had something great for the defense. I think he had the barrage online and gets taken out right at the start of that fight, which really, really sucks for that. But it was the Graviton combo that they just needed. And what Flyby needed to do was focus down Wild. That should have been their number 1 objective, but being so defended behind the Reinhardt shield meant she was pretty much inaccessible, and therefore the win was guaranteed at that point.
Well, and I'm pretty sure Flyby had the Transcendence available. I don't know how that happened, because obviously he popped it at the very end there, but that could have potentially completely nullified the Graviton. If they were able to keep their team members alive through that, get the barrage off, that could have been the difference between victory or defeat in that fight, and thus, of course, the entire map, especially considering Limbo, who had been playing Ana the entire map, who could have then countered that Transcendence with the anti-heal, had switched over to the Zenyatta of his own. And so the tools were all there for Flyby, but they just weren't able to put them all together in the right configuration. Oh, and listen, Limbo, you know, I know that you don't like this map. It sounds like you're compromising a little bit here. I'm worried about the compromise mentality. I guess you gotta give and take sometimes. So we
You
are
gotta
going to watch
compromise.
Gibraltar, yeah.
But yeah, I know you like the Ana, but I just, how many nano boosts did we really see that map?
Yeah,
Like,
we saw.
one?
I think technically there were 2. One, I don't think I can't remember it having any impact. And then the second one, the one that more prominent, they put it onto, I think, Excel on Reinhardt. And interestingly enough, Big Hundo, who was playing Diva at the time, pushed in the self-destruct. And what that meant was that you can't swing the hammer when you got to put up your shield. The self-destruct somewhat nullified that nano. I'm not sure how conscious that was, but that's how it played out at the very least.
Yeah, I
And
think both times we're on to Excel, and both times he
Yeah.
was zoned away, whether it was with a self-destruct or a primal rage from Best Bulby. And that's the only reason I think, well, Ana's going to be definitely stronger on this point A defense, but I just think the Zen versus Zen is probably the better choice in this meta.
Yeah, I would say so generally. Of course, it does kind of depend on what tools you're bringing and what kind of fights you want to have. Is right now we might be close to the most balanced that the game has ever been. I think before the Mercy buffs, so a couple patches ago, it was fairly balanced overall. But right now, we have seen all of the supports coming out today. And let's talk a little bit about this attack, as it is going to be Flyby on the attack. Bork is going to be bringing out the Widowmaker, and that's why I love Watchpoint Gibraltar, is you can play Widowmaker pretty much every single point on the attack. We'll see if Bork can make that work for the team. Baders, on the other side of things, they're playing a little bit more defensively. They're not going to play an aggressive defense. They're taking the high ground here, and unless they get a pick, which they do, now they might engage.
Yeah, Bork waited a little bit too long to get that shot onto Baby XQC, so they had to use the res, which maybe opens up a window for Baders, but not if Bork gets a second snipe of the game onto Gold, and Baders still engaging.
Yeah, and no matter what, this is mission successful from the side of Baders. They're able to delay things out quite a bit, and that's really all you're looking for on these early defenses. This Tracer almost goes down. Maybe XQC keeping by the skin of her pulse bomb. No, okay, not quite up yet. But yeah, so you defend before car wash, you get some time off the clock, and now you can solidify your dive defense after car wash, and they're diving in right now.
Well, Bork is going to continue to get kills. He was the guy who got the 3-piece for this payload to even go further, but now it's Nomad's turn to shine, and he was the one slicing through Baby XQC, who was going to their flank, but now it's Excel who's in a weird position right now, gonna get back to the payload before, actually no, it still gets captured.
Oh, yeah, I definitely thought they were going to be able to defend it here, and that's huge from the side of Flyby, because you know, you usually, if you're on the attack, you want to try to stagger some spawns here, but Flyby, they have this fight where essentially they're not able to delay anything at all while the doors are opening, or excuse me, Baiters weren't able to actually defend at all. So now Flyby are going to have free reign of this first half of point B, and that's possibly the best place to defend.
And they're in a huge ultimate advantage as well. Nomad with the Dragon Blade, and then you got the tank ultimates and pretty much both support ultimates online. Gonna start with Cades, but Gold is the one that strikes first with the Dragon Blade. Double kill, the backline is open, gets the triple, and the kills follow through. Baiters hold on to this defense.
And then I feel like we're at 50-50 for effective Dragon Blades. When Gold is effective at all, he is generally finding 3-4 kills with that Dragon Blade, but so often, if he doesn't pull it off at the right time, he's not getting quite as much. This time around, getting a lot. Now I'm going to be watching for Nomad on the other side of things, as he's got his Dragon Blade, may not need to use it, as Bork's already got this into a 6v5.
What a weird defense. Excel is completely disengaged from his Diva friend, so his Diva friend's gonna lose his Diva mech, and it's not spelling good for the defense, so now it was Excel who goes down after that, and Flyby just capitalizing on these positional mistakes that Baiters are doing.
Yep, and Ultraviolet is going to use that Transcendence just to make sure that Flyby can stay at full fighting force going through point B, as the re-engage coming out here from Baiters. Both of the Winstons diving deep. Transcendence comes out from Limbo.
Well, that's one support down for the defense, but the Dragon Blade from Nomad gets, oh my god, ended before it even began. Self-destruct from Wild does pick off Best Bulby. Now the offense only have one tank remain, who's going to quickly disengage before walking away with that kill onto Excel, but the defense still going to reinforce here.
Yep, the defense are going to solidify. This is actually a good area for them. Their spawn is now actually closer to the payload. So this, if you're going to hold B at all, this is where you're going to do it. That said, Flyby, they've got the tools that they need to take the high ground. I think they need to do it, find a good opportunity to drop in, find an opportunity to get a few picks. Bork starts off in the kill feed.
And that's the second time Folky has gone down early in these fights, and now Limbo is in a lot of trouble. He's always getting dove there from Best Bulby. With the payload now getting to point B, Limbo's going to get staggered into this one, which means Baiters have to quickly disengage. They do get Folky, but that's not going to be enough healing for now, and they don't want to feed more ultimates to Flyby.
It is so difficult to play against a Widowmaker on this map when it's on the attack, because even if you're winning fights, you're getting the momentum in your favor, at any point, Bork can pull it back. So much room, so many good sight lines, and it's not going to stop here on point C. Excel diving in, trying to keep him at bay.
Oh, the Primal Rage combination with the Dragon Blade sound barrier slicing through the back line. At least the supports are out. And Best Bulby as well in the defense. Had to use a lot of ultimates, though, to get that payload back.
Yeah, they did, and I think that that's not a bad place to be. The momentum was firmly in the hands of Flyby. Stop them right here. It's going to give you a couple opportunities to defend, even if you lose some of these initial fights. And at the very least, it's going to buy you some time. 2 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock. Limbo is going to be the one with the Transcendence coming into this next defense. The question is, can they actually get anything with that? They've got nothing really to combo it with. They may be able to nullify Nomad's Dragon Blade if he chooses to pull it.
Well, they need to be careful. At least, Baby XQC is able to get the attention of Bork, which kind of delays her from getting more picks on your team. But Gold is going to start things off with a kill onto the opposing Genji, but the self-destruct from Wild is going to just buy a little bit of space for the defense, at least to just separate this offense from Flyby, where Gold gets the double kill, supports out for the offense.
Yeah, and Gold, the two fights are happening right now. You've got the tanks on the point, Baders is winning that one, and Gold, if you've got a Dragon Blade with no tanks in your face, it's a real easy Dragon. Or did he even use Dragon Blade?
No.
Or did he build it up? I thought he used Dragon. He was just getting resets. Baby XQC was back there with him as well, so they were able to combine for those kills in the back line and successfully defend here once again. They started that one off getting picked off. Limbo went down early in that fight, but they were able to successfully engage, split up Flyby. Now it's going to be really up to Nomad's Dragon Blade to make this open up for...
And not only that, they forced Bork to swap off of Widow and get onto get onto Tracer, which now can contest Baby XQC a little bit more, but he's going to be out of the picture. Gold is going to start things off with the Dragon Blade, gets the... Actually doesn't even teammate Big Hondo there, but does fall into the Transcendence where he gets a little bit of healing, but the self-destruct from Flyby is going to push off this defense, and even zoning more is Best Bulby with the Primal Rage.
Yes, Primal Rage being nullified somewhat by the sound barrier. Also, Nomad had popped his Dragon Blade in that engage. Not able to get anything with that. And once again, the attackers start off with a pick. Ultraviolet was able to get a right click onto Baby XQC, and they're not able to convert it into anything. They don't know how to follow up on this part of the map. And honestly, the fact that Bork was nullified on this point has made this Vader's defense successful. Bork now going to have Pulse Bomb, and they're going to start off with another pick. Let's see if they can make it happen this time.
Well, that was the second time Baby XQC gets picked off first in the fight. Last time was Ultraviolet, now it's Best Bulby. So now having a way much harder time harassing this backline. Pulse Bomb from Bork, though, gets Limbo down, supports down for the defense, and now Flyby need to roll onto this point. But Wild Self-Destruct does buy some time off the payload, minimizing this distance, but this will be the final defense as now it's in overtime.
It's in overtime indeed. Ultimate pop there by Cades. Getting off a little bit of extra damage. Also going to be keeping the team alive is their support. Ultraviolet with the Transcendence. Gold trying to stop them though with this Dragon Blade.
Best Bulby, your job is to chase that Genji down. He's in your backline. He's trying to get a kill onto Lucio. That absolutely does not matter in this fight. So they do lose a couple members in their backline, but they are now reinforcing back onto the payload. Now this Pulse Bomb from Bork finds a double. Limbo just can't get back into this fight without getting Pulse Bomb.
Yep, and that is going to be the final nail in the coffin. They struggled a lot on point C. They got through point A and point B with relative ease, but Flyby by the skin of their teeth in overtime able to get to point C. And do you think, here's the question, do you think they should have switched off that Widowmaker earlier on point C? Or were there other factors involved there? Because they started winning when Bork was on Tracer.
Yeah, I think Bork's Widow really made a stand on point A and point B. He was the one that got the triple kill to even start the ball rolling for them, and was even getting those initial picks on the ship phase, which is still a very strong point for Widow. And just this whole map is built for Widow. And at the end, when Baby XQC was just not getting off his tail, he finally switches to the Tracer and shows him how it's done.
Yeah, and I mean with the punctuated by that last Pulse Bomb, but doing a lot with those pulse pistols as well. Well, we're switching sides here, and I was going to say one thing I'm going to be looking for is Baby XQC, XL, or Gold. I think all of them technically have played Hitscan. I'm not sure if Gold has played Widow yet, but I was going to see if Baby XQC was going to be on the attack Widow for Vader's opportunity to push the payload all the way through. Right now, that's what they are hovering, but one of the most notable things this time around is going to be Bork staying on the Widow on the defense this time.
It seems a little bit reverse. Okay, finally Gold gets off the 76, but 76 is pretty powerful on the defense. I thought maybe Nomad would bring that out, but he's going to be on the Genji. And I wonder if they spotted, if the offense spotted out the picks, because they were standing kind of out in the open. So Gold is going to be matching Nomad on the Genji, and now Baby XQC gets off the Widow, goes on the 76.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Maybe they're predicting the fact that Bork is going to be playing this defensive Widow, because now they can be a little bit more aggressive. You can see them diving up to the high ground, because in close quarters fights, Widow's not going to be nearly as useful. And so they're trying to force a sort of a 5v6 opportunity here. They're diving in one at a time.
Yeah, Baby XQC can have a little bit more damage, can self-heal into the backline. He can be ignored if he's doing okay. but maybe the Widow would have been the right call, but they're doing well so far. They got the payload past underpass, or now Flyby have to disengage to the secondary defensive position.
Yes, and this is where the Widowmaker starts coming into play. The payload is through the car wash, which is this lower area here, now in the sightlines of Bork. So the question is, how is Vader's going to deal with that? Are they going to try to just win the ground war, or are they going to dive up there? So far, keeping their focus on the ground, but Ultraviolet getting the first kill of this one.
Oh, Ultraviolet, though, was eating a bit of damage. He's such an aggressive Zenyatta. Now they're pushing back this payload. Wild is going to be in a bit of a hairy situation, disengaged from the other tanks. And they're going to finally fall back, but not before Wild loses the mech. So probably going to want to jump off the map. That's going to be quicker.
Yep, run! Whee! That's some good cliff diving there. Wild going to be getting back into this fight. And yeah, some early picks. Ultraviolet, he has been such a highlight for me. It's almost always fun to see a Zenyatta go off like Ultraviolet has. He was able to get gold multiple times on the defense, now making it happen, or on the attack, now making it happen on the defense is Nomad. This is one of his first successful Dragon Blades.
Oh my god, very successful indeed. The triple kill also onto Folky, who's not going to be able to go for any resurrects. So Flyby will be going back to their original defensive position, only needing that one ultimate to make it happen. But Baiters have the Dragon Blade of their own, and they also have Folky who can lend assistance with the Valkyrie.
Yep, and yeah, this is their fight to lose. They've got the payload far enough that a single fight should mean they can finish it. Gold is going to start this off with a kill into Cades. That's huge. Dragon Blade, even if that's the only kill he gets, they should be able to convert this into a team fight.
Well, they need to dive Bork as well, because Bork could get a few clutch snipes if he's left alone, which is what Wild is trying to do. And Big, I think that was, what's his name? Yeah, Big Hundo is trying to defend his little Widow friend, but with the number disadvantage, they smartly got away with their lives, but they do have a last engagement before the payload gets there. They just need to be very quick. Excel, go for the high ground. He's disconnected from Wild, but there's attack visor on the field. Baby XQC is just gonna try and get the D-Mech on the Big Hundo. Does accomplish that, but not any other kills after that.
Yeah, no, I mean, completely nullified by Big Hundo, does get the D-Mac, but the thing is, on the other side of that fight, well, first of all, Bork doing almost nothing here. Completely forced out of that one. That's not where you want to be fighting as a Widow. No, but what I was going to say is, Wild got 2 kills with that mech, and in the chaos of that fight, and the fact that the payload was already almost to point A, meant that they were able to use that mech to their advantage, get the payload all the way, and here comes Nomad to try to equalize. It's going to be nullified by Limbo, though.
Well, Baiters are going to start the ball rolling. As Baby XQC swaps from the Soldier to the Widow to get those snipes onto Bork, but the kills are falling in Flyby's way. They're rolling through the spawn, and they get the D-Mech onto Wild. So that's going to be crucial. I don't think there's a cliff she can jump off here.
No, not anywhere close. So, I mean, you can potentially. I've seen Divas run all the way, but at this point, maybe you just go back into spawn and get the swap, or they had Mercy and went ahead and killed her off. So we are going to have the, oh my gosh, I am fading here. No, they're going to have multiple ults coming into this next fight. Gold is going to have Dragon Blade. Folky starts things off, though, flying around the battlefield.
Well, this Mercy also, that was Folky, who's getting heavily separated, but the supports are now out of the picture for the defense. Now the offense need to just get on this payload, but they're so far deep in this backline that that's not really their focus.
Yeah, I don't even know what to think of this fight other than that's a Winston in the kill feed quite a bit. Excel in the later parts of this fight, who has been diving the backline every single chance he can get, is able to get a couple kills into the backline. And but with how scrappy this fight was, the disengage here from Baiters means they're going to stop. They're not going to be able to keep this payload moving. Gold's going to reinitiate here with the Dragon Blade.
Oh, he starts off with that kill onto Nomad. Now trying to get Best Bolby, the main shield provider, out. Has to chase him down. But meanwhile, the payload is getting slowly pushed from the remaining scrappers, and a Primal Rage from Excel is going to start things off, or maybe actually end the story here for Flyby, This point B is earned after a lot of time was burnt there, but 2.5 minutes remain.
Yeah, and that is more than enough time to pick it up here, especially given the fact that Bork is staying on this Widow, this defensive Widow. They don't necessarily have the ultimates, does Baiters, as we're going to have a pause coming out here, to do it right now, but they've got plenty of time to push it all the way through. And of course, if we were playing this competitive rule set, it was pushed into overtime by Flyby, so any time you have is just going to give you a little bit of extra time potentially in that second or the third and fourth rounds if they're able to get it all the way. Somebody got kicked out of the game. But no, what I was going to say is right now you've got Limbo's Transcendence. I think you save that. Maybe you try to force Ultraviolet's Transcendence out, but let Flyby pop some ultimates. Wait for a better opportunity and ultimate advantage to get this payload all the way.
Yeah, maybe
Would be my recommendation.
Or maybe Baby XQC can build up to a pulse bomb pretty quickly and trigger the Transcendence that way. That's always scary when you hear the beeping of a pulse bomb going. But you're right. This is going to be pulse Transcendence is coming out, just stalling, not really having much effect to either team. But Bader's taking their position onto the payload, but that means they left their backline exposed where Nomad is going to take advantage, but Gold is there to defend his Zenyatta and actually wins that one.
That was huge, and honestly, Ultraviolet popped his Transcendence way too early. He's got the right clicks, but not able to get his ultimate off, and that meant that Limbo's Transcendence was so much more valuable.
Limbo was gonna eat a death one day. The self-destruct comes in when the Winston was missing from the fight, but they're still deciding to take their position onto the payload. Where Gold now he's finally lost all his tanks. Now he needs to leave, and Excel smartly not gonna re-engage there either.
Yeah. I want to touch on something really quick. You had mentioned Gold defending his own Zenyatta in the backline. Part of the reason he was able to do that is an interesting little mechanic. The deflection actually blocks melee attacks, including the Dragon Blade. So Gold able to nullify Nomad's Dragon Blade. They're initiating here as Gold pulls out his Dragon Blade.
Well, what is Best Bull be doing? He's AFK in the back. The opposing Genji is ripping up his backline. He needed to pop that Primal Rage to harass this Genji. That's his main job. Now he's got so many members down that this Primal Rage has little to no value.
Yeah, and here we have the staggering kills are going to be in favor of Flyboys on the defense. The question is, can they get enough members onto this payload to deal with Baiters? With D.Va going down, it does seem like they're going to defend. One more opportunity for Baiters coming in this next fight. And I'm going to be looking at Excel here. Make something big happen with that Winston ultimate. I want to see Fists of Fury knocking people off this very narrow area where people can actually be knocked off this map.
And the defense also have the Transcendence. So and paired up with Nomad's Dragon Blade, and that's going to be easily combined. Or actually, Nomad's going to go in by himself, gets the Zenyatta out of the picture, and even the helping self-destruct to get the kill onto Baby XQC, the D-Mech onto Wild. This offense is dwindling apart, but the defense didn't even need the Transcendence there.
No, that was all extra gravy on top of Flyby's victory. And that is going to be the final map of the night. And honestly, it was an interesting mix from both of these teams throughout the night. A lot of scrappy, extended fights where there were multiple things going on. It seemed like the tanks from both sides really wanted to dive into the other's backline. Some mixed ultimate usage. Overall, though, very fun to watch.
Yeah. I think a crucial mistake was Best Bulby, kind of like I said, AFK, while the opposing Genji was kind of ripping up his team with the Dragon Blade. So kind of late to the party, which meant that they just burned so much time on that clock, and then they were just trickling back. But anyway, that will be the end. Flyby will take the series 3-1 after Baiters took Eichenwald.
Yeah, GG's all around.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we will kill the stream with a baseball bat, a gun, or whatever. That will be it for us. Well, you said literally kill the stream, so I'm killing it.
Beat it to death.
Beat it. Oh, so we're talking to ourselves like crazy people. Okay, so that was Flyby, that was Baiters, and the proven performance out of Flyby to take the series 3-1, as we mentioned. And Gilfrost, any closing thoughts?
Let your hopes fly as high as your dreams.
And let your baits be
That's it.
masterful.
Oh gosh.
Thank you for the
GG.
clap.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that
Thank
was
you.
awfully.
Have
Yeah.
a good
No,
night,
no.
guys.
It was a lot of fun. GG.
Okay, have a good night, guys.